Steph Curry the other day in practice made 105 straight. 105.
Steph Curry's jaw-dropping deep threes have flipped the NBA on its head.
Catch and shoot on the advance pass, Klay Thompson!
Some nights it's pure brilliance. Other nights, a frustrating avalanche of misses. From 7-footers to traditional big men, everyone now chases his impossible range. But is Curry truly to blame for the league's three-point chaos? Or is the real story even bigger? Before we break it all down, here's your chance to support the channel and rep the game-changing spirit. Check out our exclusive merch, hoodies, tees, mugs, and more, built for fans who know the game. Hit the link in the description or tap the View Products button on your screen. Gear up now and show the world you're not just watching the game, you're part of it. From the moment Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, dubbed the Splash Brothers, began raining threes together, the NBA's style of play shifted. It felt like every night they were testing the bounds of shooting range, pulling up from distances once considered absurd. Fans couldn't get enough of the deep bombs, while their opponents scrambled to devise defenses that might slow them down. Fast forward to the present, and many of the league's most memorable matchups revolve around whether one team's three-point onslaught can outdo another's. A recent epic clash, for instance, featured the Warriors and the Mavericks combining for 48 made threes, setting a new NBA record. The pace felt like an all-star game, but with real stakes. Every trip down the floor was a chance for another dagger from deep. Predictably, media outlets lit up with hot takes. Some praised the spectacle as next-level entertainment, while others decried it as evidence of an unbalanced league obsessed with outside shooting. The argument goes that this barrage of threes dilutes the diversity of the sport. Critics miss the strategic interplay of post-ups, mid-range artistry, and tough half-court defense. They point to older eras when teams valued physical battles in the paint as much as outside marksmanship. Now they claim everything revolves around the arc, and it's no longer about which team has the better overall skill set. It's about who hits more shots from 25 feet away. Yet for many fans, the allure is undeniable. Who doesn't love a dramatic comeback fueled by consecutive three-pointers? And for every critic groaning about too many threes, another fan cheers the possibility of seeing a 20-point lead vanish in mere minutes. Steph and Klay embody that exhilarating potential. Even if you're up 15 on Golden State, it can disappear in a hurry if the Splash Brothers catch fire. For every record-breaking shootout, there's an equally memorable dud where teams collectively clank 3 after 3, turning games into a slog. Take the infamous example of the Charlotte Hornets facing the Chicago Bulls on a night that saw them combine for 22 makes on 97 attempts from beyond the arc. That's a paltry 22% success rate, with one team at a sub-20% clip and the other barely doing better. Watching that many missed threes in one sitting can drain the energy from the arena, not to mention the fans' wallets if they paid top dollar for courtside seats. Games like that fuel the narrative that the NBA's three-point obsession has gone too far. Critics ask, why watch two teams brick endless jumpers instead of mixing in mid-range artistry, pick-and-roll setups, and post moves? The argument is that variety is the spice of basketball, and a barrage of missed attempts from 25 feet out becomes monotonous. In the past, coaches would yank players for taking ill-advised deep shots. Today, it's often encouraged. If the analytics say a three is a good shot, teams just keep firing. From a fan's perspective, such nights can be disappointing. You might hope to see star players go toe-to-toe only to witness a parade of clanging shots. The crowd's excitement dips, social media mocks the shooters, and the entire event leaves a sour taste. Suddenly, what should have been a highlight of skill devolves into a carnival of errors. Statistically, the trend is clear. Since the mid-2010s, teams have embraced launching 30-plus threes a game, yet the median accuracy hasn't skyrocketed. So while some squads can replicate the Warriors' method effectively on good nights, many others struggle, and we get these cringeworthy box scores. The possibility remains, of course, that either team could catch fire at any moment. In fairness, the drama of a bad shooting night turning into a spectacular hot streak is part of the modern NBA's allure. Teams can go from zero to unstoppable within a quarter, but the flip side is that fans must endure sequences of futility, waiting for that moment to arrive. When it doesn't, the final product can feel like a waste of talent. When Steph Curry nailed 402 three-pointers during the 2015-16 season, he set a new benchmark for long-range excellence. That year, the Warriors compiled a record-breaking 73-9 season, upending conventional wisdom about shot selection. Historically, deep perimeter attempts were seen as last resort options. Suddenly, it became a fundamental strategy for winning. Opponents were left in disarray, trying to guard space well beyond the three-point line, which had once been a safe zone for defenses. The Warriors' staggering efficiency, draining over 40% of their threes, was the dream scenario. Yet teams across the league saw the volume more than the accuracy. In the minds of many coaches and front offices, the formula was simple: shoot more threes. The logic: if you can't match Steph's shooting percentage, maybe matching his attempts could tilt the math in your favor. Unfortunately, not everyone could replicate Curry's quick release, footwork, or off-the-dribble mastery. In the seasons that followed, the NBA saw an explosion of three-point attempts. It wasn't just the star guards hoisting them, centers and forwards joined in. Even role players with marginal shooting prowess felt emboldened to launch from deep. You'd see big men who rarely left the paint now camping out beyond the arc, believing they could provide spacing. The fact that Steph and the Warriors made history emboldened everyone else to give it a go. Statistics back this up. Since 2016, there have been well over 2,000 NBA games where a team took at least 31.6 threes. The same average the Warriors had that record year, but shot under 30%. Those teams effectively took an approach inspired by Golden State, but lacked the accuracy that made the Warriors so lethal. The result often led to painful shooting displays reminiscent of amateur pickup games. Still, the lure of a 6-point swing from consecutive three-pointers is hard to resist, and the possibility of flipping a game's momentum in seconds proved irresistible to coaches who craved an edge. The Warriors inadvertently unleashed a league-wide scramble for perimeter offense. Steph's success story became a beacon for how to revolutionize one's offense. Except it overlooked the vital piece: shooting skill. Simply replicating the number of attempts without matching the quality would be doomed to fail for most teams. A popular refrain across social media is that Steph Curry broke basketball. According to this take, he introduced a way of playing that encourages reckless shot selection and trivializes fundamentals like passing, cutting, and post scoring. The highlight reels of Curry sinking 35-footers in defenders' faces have become must-watch viral moments, imitated by amateur players everywhere. But does that necessarily mean he ruined the game? In interviews, Curry has directly addressed the idea that he's to blame for every ill-advised extra deep shot. He jokes that fans should stop tagging him in bad clips because he never told anyone to fling up an off-balance triple from the logo. Indeed, Curry's brand of shooting is backed by intense skill work, near-flawless mechanics, and a basketball IQ honed over years in the NBA. He's not simply throwing the ball at the rim and hoping for the best. There's a method to his madness. Nevertheless, many players see Curry's success and think, "I can do that," ignoring the thousands of hours he spends on footwork, release speed, and stamina. You'll find clips of rookies, role players, and even big men attempting Curry-esque bombs in transition when they're nowhere near his level of efficiency. These misguided attempts can kill a team's momentum and frustrate coaches, but they persist because the dream of hitting a Curry-like shot dazzles fans and might rewrite the scoreboard in seconds. Victor Wembanyama's approach exemplifies this. A 7'4" phenom with the skill set to dominate the paint, he averages around 9 threes a game, occasionally hitting them at a mediocre clip. Instead of leveraging his massive height advantage with consistent post-ups, he's mimicking some aspects of Curry's perimeter game. On a good night, it's thrilling to see a giant drain three from downtown. On a bad night, it's a string of wasted possessions. Behind this wave of long-range bombardment lies the data-driven logic of analytics. General managers, coaches, and front office statisticians study shot charts and realize 3 points are more efficient than 2, especially if you can maintain a respectable success rate. The formula is straightforward. Hitting 35% from 3 yields roughly 105 points per 100 possessions, equating to or surpassing many 2-point looks. Add in the spacing benefits, and the shift seems unstoppable. That's why we see coaches granting players a green light, even if they're shooting at a fringe efficiency level. Missing 10 three-pointers in a row might feel disastrous, but analytics suggest that if you're a decent shooter, you'll eventually connect enough times to justify the attempts. Consequently, load management shifts from controlling minutes to controlling shot distribution. Some coaches will bench players who hesitate on open looks, believing that a missed 3 is still part of a winning formula. However, relying too heavily on analytics can overlook aspects of basketball that defy pure number crunching. Heart, game flow, and situational awareness matter. A contested step-back triple might be mathematically justifiable for a certain star, but for a less talented player, it's a low-percentage gamble that disrupts team rhythm. Analysts often speak about shot expected value, but that value dips dramatically when the shooter lacks the skill or the space to convert. Furthermore, the rise of analytics doesn't merely come from front offices. Players themselves have grown up in an era where YouTube highlight reels glorify deep threes over methodical post work. Agents push for 3-and-D specialists who can fetch lucrative contracts. Even casual fans marvel at the drama of 6 quick points from back-to-back triples. All roads lead to the same conclusion. If you're not shooting from outside, you're missing out on a proven advantage. Adam Silver and league executives haven't turned away from this trend because high-scoring, fast-paced games drive viewership, at least on paper. Yet, ironically, we see dips in national ratings and older fans complaining the games become robotic. Some coaches like Greg Popovich have balanced analytics with a more holistic approach, but even he's admitted the new reality can't be ignored. At the end of the day, the data-driven revolution is here, for better or worse, and Curry stands as the poster child, albeit a child who's far more skilled than most imitators. The debate over whether Steph Curry ruined the NBA or propelled it into a fresh era is nuanced. On one hand, scoring has soared, come-from-behind victories happen more often, and star players seem more empowered to display their range. The tempo is often faster, which can be thrilling for fans who love action-packed contests. On the other hand, the league's identity can feel homogenized, with every team pursuing the same strategy: shoot more threes, hope some go in, and if not, keep shooting anyway. Critics argue that traditional basketball was an art form with varied offensive sets, from mid-range jump shots to post-up battles, a chess match of spacing, pick-and-roll intricacy, and passing lanes. Now, they say, it's often a three-point contest in disguise, overshadowing other elements of the sport. The spike and missed shots can produce nights that are painful to watch, diminishing the overall experience. Even Hall of Famers like Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal occasionally roll their eyes at the modern style, calling for a return to inside play and physicality. Meanwhile, younger fans see highlights of half-court heaves and 50-point quarters lighting up social media. Social engagement around the NBA is at an all-time high, with countless fans tweeting clips of improbable threes, dramatic scoring runs, and unstoppable heat checks. If the end goal is entertainment, one could argue the league has never been more enthralling, especially if you enjoy the spectacle of scoring sprees. Take LaMelo Ball, for instance. Despite leading the league in three-point attempts, he remains a massive draw on YouTube and Instagram, showcasing that fans aren't universally put off by the long-range barrage. People love watching flashy passes and bold distance shots. The enthusiasm around players like LaMelo or Damian Lillard reveals that the deep ball drama resonates strongly with a segment of the fan base. If the NBA wants to preserve artistry while maintaining the excitement of the three-point revolution, it might need to strike a better balance. Analytics aren't the enemy. They've sharpened many teams' understanding of shot value, but basketball's essence includes creativity, unpredictability, and matchups that aren't always captured by stats. A well-timed mid-range jumper or a powerful post-up can break a defense reliant on spacing out to the arc. Teams like the Denver Nuggets sometimes prove that mixing versatile big men with shooters can unlock varied offenses, reminding us that not every shot has to be a triple. Consider DeMar DeRozan as a prime example. According to a strict analytics worldview, his preference for mid-range jumpers should be outdated, yet he's reached new heights by sticking to what he does best. It's proof that a few specialists can still thrive without living beyond the arc. Meanwhile, a post-up powerhouse like Joel Embiid can draw extra defenders down low, freeing shooters on the perimeter. That combination of inside strength and accurate outside looks once defined the NBA, and it can continue to flourish in this long-range revolution. Steph Curry's real legacy might be more about unlocking new possibilities rather than confining the game to a single mold. He demonstrates that a smaller guard can revolutionize offensive spacing. Yet, we also must acknowledge the brilliance of his ball handling, off-ball cuts, and extraordinary stamina, elements that analytics alone don't always quantify. The biggest mistake is to see his shooting alone and conclude, let's all do that, ignoring the deeper layers of skill and discipline that turn high-volume triples into efficient game-breaking game-breaking weapons. Coaches might benefit from blending these approaches, enforcing shot discipline without stifling players' freedom to create. Indeed, the best teams often have a healthy mix. They rely on high-percentage threes, but also incorporate mid-range and paint scoring when defenses overcommit to the perimeter. The result is a more unpredictable, multifaceted brand of basketball that can keep fans engaged and reward well-rounded talent. So, did Steph Curry's three-point shooting really destroy the NBA? Not exactly. He showed how a lethal long-range weapon can elevate a team to historic heights. It's the league's rush to mimic his style, without replicating his skill, that leads to those awful nights of 20% shooting on 40 attempts. If anything, Curry expanded basketball's horizons. Whether that horizon thrills or disappoints depends on each player, coach, and fan's perspective. Share your thoughts below. Has the NBA gone too far with threes, or is this era simply the next step in the game's evolution? And don't forget to support the channel by checking out the Hoopy Hype store in our description below, along with our next video shown on screen.